Welcome everyone to tonight's school committee meeting. We have a packed agenda and a packed house. We got a lot of friends here tonight, so we're going to get started. Could I have the third graders please stand up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Fourth graders, sorry. Fourth graders.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. So, terrific time of year. We got a lot going on in the district and in town. We kicked it off tonight. We were over at the high school. We did a recognition of Paula Donahue, who is a, do you guys know Paula Donahue? None of you guys had Mrs. Donahue from kindergarten? Thurman had Mrs. Okay. So she's retiring after 17 years teaching in Littleton. So we had a little celebration for her. And before we jump into the other stuff, I want to go ahead and kick the agenda around a little bit. We're going to do a recognition, a teaching award for one of our teachers who's also a mom and has to get to senior send-off. So I'm going to kick it over to Rich right now. And Mr. Clenching.
I'm going to louse things up a little bit here to start. Change it up. This evening, this is our third annual Teaching and Excellence Award. And we started this award a year ago, and we have the principals select a teacher within their school that exudes exemplary qualities of what teaching is all about. It's a teacher who goes beyond what's expected of them, models instructional strategies and leadership for other staff members, and individualizes instruction for students and truly loves teaching. It's with great pleasure this year that I'm able to present this award to Mrs. Barth. Congratulations, Mrs. Barth. And Principal Faraday has a few words that he'd like to share with us, so we're going to have you stand with us.
Okay, thank you.
It is with great pleasure that I present Mrs. Michelle Barth with this year's Shaker Lane School Excellence in Teaching Award. Michelle has been a kindergarten teacher in Littleton for the past 9 years. Previously, she had worked as a second grade teacher and had been the director and teacher of preschool and kindergarten programs for the Littleton Parks and Recreation Department. Good teachers are crucial for every grade level, but a kindergarten teacher can set the tone for child's opinions about school and learning for the rest of their lives. Mrs. Barth is a warm, caring, and supportive teacher. She forms strong relationships with her students and their parents and shows students that she cares deeply about them. Mrs. Barth never gives up on any of her students. An excellent kindergarten teacher has to create a strong sense of community and belonging in her classroom. In Michelle's classroom, each student knows and understands that he or she is a valued member of the class. She strives to let each child know that he or she can depend not only on her, but also on the whole class. At the same time, Michelle has high expectations for students, both in academics and behavior. She expects all students can and will achieve. As a teacher, she understands that it is her job and responsibility to find ways to motivate and inspire all the students in her class every year. She understands that kindergarten students need to be actively engaged in order to learn. When you walk into a room, it's usually buzzing with children's voices. The excitement that they are feeling is visible. Students are enthusiastic and engaged in activities that have been designed for them by Michelle. She has integrated technology into the curriculum and into her instruction. Michelle demonstrates a strong commitment to her school and the school community. She works tirelessly as a community member at Shaker Lane. She shares her ideas and views with her colleagues and is the first to try new ideas in her classrooms. Her presentations to parents and colleagues are remarkably organized, and she presents with poise and confidence. Most recently, she submitted a mentoring proposal focusing on developing relationships and experiences between students at Littleton High School who are interested in pursuing working with children as a career and the Shaker Lane staff. It is a privilege to present Michelle Barth with the Excellence in Teaching Award.
So if we can take a picture of the three of us, somewhere, here, I'm over here, Doug. Does that
Yeah,
work?
right here is good.
Okay.
Smile.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Can I thank you?
Of course you can.
I have some thank yous. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Mr. Clinty and school committee, and of course, Rich. Thank you so much for choosing me. It's so special to me because teaching is not just a job for me at all. It's definitely a passion. So to be honored for my job, it's very meaningful to me. So thank you. To represent Shaker Lane with this award is very meaningful because it's a school filled with such talent, and it's truly humbling. While accepting this award, I cannot help but think of all the teachers with whom I've worked. None of us gets really good at anything without help, and I've had plenty of help between my family, my friends, and of course, mostly my colleagues. The staff at Shaker Lane is one that can't help but make a teacher be at their best. You see, when you work with outstanding teachers, it raises your game. You quickly see that the bar is set high, which inspires and motivates you to be your best. And you can't help but fly over that bar. There's a wealth of knowledge in my colleagues, and I'm not afraid to tap that when needed. This is especially true with my amazing kindergarten team, which works tirelessly to help each other, and they are really a team. I'm so thankful for each of them. And I think I'm most grateful for those students. Some of them are here today. It's so special, and the families. I have had the privilege to be a part of hundreds of students' early childhood experience, and I don't take that lightly. That's truly a privilege. My students know that my #1 rule is friendly first, and that even small hands can make a difference within a community. These tiny humans deserve so much more than just the academic rigor of school. They are to be celebrated for their individuality and to be encouraged to be a whole student. A whole student, one who is empathetic and compassionate and learns to be the best that he or she can be in all that they do. Yes, the bar is raised high in room 103, but I've seen it, and kindergartners can fly. Thank you all so much. It's really, truly very meaningful to me.
All right. Before we jump into the think tank classroom presentation, we're just going to do one little thing. Can we just do the consent agenda? We have minutes from May 12, 2016, and oath to bills and payroll.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda as read.
Any second? Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Okay. We will do interested citizens after we do the next presentation. All right, so don't let me forget. But we are ready for the think tank classroom. All right, Mr. Bazidlo? Looks like you brought a crew.
We did. Russell Street's representing. Good evening, thanks for having us. We are thrilled to have had the opportunity to turn our computer lab into an amazing space that we call the think tank. I'd like to thank Mrs. McGregor and Mrs. Lord for all of their hard work to create a space that is far beyond what I ever could have imagined that it was, particularly now that students have had experiences in this space. The work that they're doing, the energy that's there has been absolutely tremendous. We want to thank Littleton Electric Light and Water for a grant that helped us get off the ground. We had a parent open house night without children in this space recently, and the energy was palpable that night as well. Mrs. McGregor and Mrs. Lord are here tonight with several of Mrs. McGregor's students, Arya Patel, Elise Barry, Sarah Ryder, Ben Shuffrin, Thurman Hargrove, and Walter Bates House. I want to thank all of them for coming along with their families, and I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Lord and Mrs. McGregor and the students, and I think you will get a good look into exactly what's going on in the think tank.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie Lord. I'm here tonight with Heidi McGregor and some of our Russell Street tech experts. And we were going to tell you a little bit about our new Russell Street think tank. So we were really lucky this year to get this opportunity to be able to kind of redesign and repurpose our existing computer lab. So we actually have a little intro video that we wanted to share with you. So we're going to, the video is actually on we have a think tank website that's really been this great resource for the students, for the teachers, and even the community. Whoever wants to see what's going on in the think tank, you can access it from the Russell Street District website. So we're just going to watch this video. It's a quick one. See if I can. This is the old lab. That gives you a little sneak peek of what's been kind of going on over at Russell Street. So we kind of went from that very typical computer lab model where it's very much one-to-one and the students are coming into the lab and sort of interfacing with the PC and really they're becoming just consumers of whatever program or product is placed in front of them. And we really wanted to kind of create a space that was where they could collaborate and create, and it was very dynamic. A place that teachers and students would be able to explore and create with all this great new technology. So I'm actually going to hand it over to Mrs. McGregor and our think tank experts who are going to show you a little bit of this awesome technology that we've gotten to bring into the think tank, and also some of the amazing things they're already doing with this tech. So.
Thank you, Julie. So our first presenter, tech expert, is Elise, and she is going to tell you about Makey Makey.
So what this is basically this board with a bunch of wires attached to it. You can use Play-Doh or bananas to attach the wires to. And then you use this website called Scratch to program stuff on it. And I have a demonstration with Play-Doh. And you must hold Earth for it to work. Wait,
Play a game, upside down.
wait. I made this game very hard. But if you touch the thing, then you have to go back up here.
So what's really neat about what Elise did was she actually programmed her own video game maze in a programming language called Scratch. And then she used Makey Makey to design the game controller as well. So she wasn't just programming, she was actually doing every component of the process. Nice job. All right, our next presenter is Aria, and she's going to tell you about Sphero.
So a Sphero is a robotic device that you can control with an iPad, and there's 2 apps that you can use. There's the regular Sphero app and Tickle. Tickle is a programming app that you can program Sphero to do like many things with it. In school we use it in math sometimes, to make shapes and angles. So I'll just present it.
Okay, so why don't you come around? She's going to show you how to drive Sphero.
We might just stand on the table.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's actually the Sphero Robotics company makes a BB-8. So it's, yeah. Yep. Nice job. Good driving. All right, our next presenter is Thurman, and he's going to tell you about 3D printing.
A 3D printer, you have to use a website called Tinkercad, and what it does is you use the shapes, numbers, letters, and tons of different things that you could find, like a sphere, and you can use them to make things like a bubble wand, like this one right here. I used with my group, and it has our initials: T for Thurman, C for Cole, and D for delayed. And then this one right here, because we were doing experiments, and we figured out that if it has bumps, it actually has a better chance of making good and more bubbles. So a group made a lot of loops and stuff. And yeah, and the way that it works is some light and ink kind of stuff. It makes it into plastic, and like this.
Okay, so why don't we show the video, and then do you want to bring those over to show the school committee members? Okay.
So this was a 4th grade project, engineering project that they worked on. Pop that video up.
Thurman, do you have any bubbles?
Nope.
Dude! Don't ever do that again to me.
That's a group testing with pipe cleaners. That's the type of bubbles we use to blow bubbles. That's me and my group.
It's just not amused.
That's 2 classmates. There.
What?
The cord out. I did it.
Been there, done that.
I did it Tuesday night.
I'll pause.
Huh?
Too much action. There we go.
Oh.
Thank you.
That's Aria. We had to draw as one of the steps. That a key? Oh, that's my group's creation. That's Walter's group's creation. That's how Tinkercad works. It looks like that. That is the process of the 3D printer actually making it at 94% done. That is the bubble one after it's been done. And no, this is going to show every bubble one that we made together. And that's what can happen if you're not careful about how many circles you have. Oh yeah, now you get to see some fun. That is Tinkercad. As you can see, the shapes right there. That's the letters. and that's the same thing. And then there's Arya going to break a bubble or pop it, and then yeah. And then there's Ben trying to do a blow. There's a cat. That's a Catherine. That's my teammate right there. And then me that popped his bubble. That's Ben was his partner. And then there goes the police. Down the slide. That is our video for using the bubble one. That is the 3D printer creation.
We keep knocking the cord out. All right, so our next expert is Sarah, and she is going to tell you about stop-motion video making in the think tank.
So we have this iPad app, and there are different buttons you can press to take pictures, delete pictures, add audio, and do all sort of stuff. And every picture looks a little bit different, and when you show them in order, if you do it right, it'll look like it's actually moving. And we have a video to show right here.
She made it with her classmate, Catherine.
So we were using tape, plastic fraction, and markers to a whiteboard. Didn't realize this would take 3 months. When we started this, we were learning about math and how to compare fractions with same numerators and denominators. So we showed that in a very fancy way. I think we went a bit crazy. The end. It took an extra week. Fireworks took 2 days. We didn't realize that the black marker fell off, so it disappeared.
All right, so we have two more tech experts to hear from. So Walter is going to talk to you about green screen filmmaking.
So, our class read the book Sadako and the 1,000 Paper Cranes in school, so we decided to do stuff about it. So, we took a picture in front of a green wall. Boring, right? But with a little help from the Doing Green Screen app, we were able to visit the Sadako Peace Monument in Hiroshima, Japan.
In a matter of like 2 seconds.
Yeah, essentially. And in doing, it allows you to layer pictures and pictures underneath the pictures that replace all the green in the background. So this was all green. And then we just layered the picture of the Peace Monument behind the first picture.
Awesome.
Good job. All right, and our final speaker tonight is Ben, and he is going to talk about the Legos, and he's also going to show you about our blog.
Well, everyone pretty much knows what Legos is, and we use them for kind of different purposes. We try to like be creative and replicate other things. Like in the think tank, for a project, we replicated the Sadaka Peace Monument in our own way, and it was pretty fun. And we just didn't do that. To get this on here, we did something called a blog post. And by the way, we used it in Blogger Junior, where you can put pictures, rate things, and you can also put videos. Jet.
What's really great about this blog is it's completely student-driven. The kids have full control over what they're posting. And you can see they're already, they're quite, been very active posting, because we've already got 123 posts. So the students are very actively contributing to this website. So it's been great to kind of see their input and what they've been creating in the space. So.
All right. So are there any questions, or they would love to answer anything?
So I just want to say, I was literally reading a magazine article today that talked about Sphero in Makey Make. And I was thinking that sounded pretty great, and now I'm finding out that we're already there, we've already got it, so that's really cool. Have you guys thought about, is it possible to invent a time machine?
Yes.
Because if you could, I would get in it, because I want to go back to 4th grade right now. Because you guys are pretty lucky, because my 4th grade was nothing like this.
Just give me a time machine and nothing else, and I'll give you a time
All
machine.
right, excellent, I want to hold you to that. You guys have any other questions or comments?
Yeah. Is there ever a first person who can use a time machine? Because if they go back in time, would they really be first? Anyway, this is incredible.
Thank you, Einstein.
Yeah, this is incredible. I remember learning about this a couple of months ago. I was at Russell Street School meeting with a lot of your teachers who are involved in the think tank and technology in general, and it is so exciting what's going on. And I think that I'm, pretty technologically literate, and then I see what's going on here, and it completely baffles me. It's incredible. And I love how it's so student-run and student-led. I think that's wonderful. And sort of the whole point of this is you're not just consuming the technology, you're creating with the technology, and I'm really excited about that. Cannot say enough nice things about this, because I'm very impressed by both the teachers and the staff and the support from the administration, but mostly by the students who are just doing so many incredible things. So keep it up, guys.
Thank you.
Guys, we got 2 more guys that might want to chime in.
No, this is awesome. I mean, this is some, like everybody else said, they didn't do that when I was in school. We had to sit behind those little, oh wait, we didn't have the computers when I went to school.
It was even worse.
Behind the little blackboards that we had chalk and.
But it is amazing that now a 10-year-old an 8-year-old actually feels like they can actually create something. So I can't even believe their mindset is going to be so completely different, right? Because they can do it all now,
Yeah. Incredible. Does every class, every student in 4th grade participate in the think tank? Or?
So all of Russell Street, all Russell Street classes have been down. We opened a little before April vacation, and some of the classes are there every week, and even some classes are there more than every week. So yeah, the whole school has really been enjoying and participating with it. So.
That's awesome. My son's in 3rd grade, so I look forward to him doing it next year. Can I buy Sphero? Can I get one like on?
Give me 200.
We have a lot of entrepreneurs.
Awesome, thank you guys, really appreciate you coming down.
That was a good meeting.
Thank you.
Exactly, that would be a great meeting, if we could just say that was it. Mr. Mazzillo, you better be really good, because that's a tough act to follow.
I can be quick now. You see the Rush Street highlight already. See how we work this out?
We're done. All right, at this time, we're going to kind of get back a little bit into our regular business. It's not as much fun, but we got to do it. Are there any interested citizens who are not leaving that have something they would like to say? Any matter in front of the school committee? I see none except the Exodus. All right, thank you, guys. All right. We'll move down to recognition. I think the students are busy tonight. There's a senior send-off going on at the high school. I think we'll skip that one.
Yeah, Olivia actually sent me a
Oh, she
sheet
did.
through Google Docs, which is really nice of her. This is such a busy time of year, so many celebrations going on. High school, as we know, senior send-offs tonight, right as we speak. And June 1st, 2nd, freshmen have biology MCAS, believe it or not, in June. And there's also a senior graduation rehearsal. Graduation this year is June 3rd, 6:30 p.m. Hope to see everybody there. The 16th, June 16th to June 22nd, high school final exam week. And the 22nd of June for every school but Russell Street is the last day of school. Middle school, 6th graders are in nature's classroom this week, and the grade 8s are in Washington, D.C. Russell Street, we have a band chorus performance June 2nd. June 3rd, grade 4 invention convention. And June 6th, 5th grade move-up day. Shaker Lane art show on June 7th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Quite a busy month. And our spring sports season is coming to a close pretty soon, and we've had another outstanding season. Congratulations to the coaches and the players. We started the season off rather wet and soggy, but the weather has certainly changed. It's actually really helped our fields out for a bit there too. So congratulations to everyone involved in the sports program. And that's it for acknowledgements.
All right, very good. And we have a presentation tonight, the school improvement plan update from Mr. Bazzillo from Russell Street.
Good evening again. As I indicate each time I come up, it's always an honor to come and speak to the community and speak to the school committee about the amazing things that are happening at Russell Street. And you obviously got a sneak peek at that tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about the think tank in a few minutes. But I will give you some quick updates on our 2-year school improvement plan. We're mid-cycle. The plan will end at the end of next school year. We've talked multiple times this year that it's been a busy year. At Russell Street, we've rolled out a new reading and writing ELA program and an updated math program in the same year for all teachers that didn't pilot the Journeys ELA program. So that's been extremely busy. You'll notice when we get to the professional development part of the presentation that most of our early professional development was focused on our new programs. And I can't say enough about the commitment of the Russell Street staff to learn everything they can about these programs and to weave them into their work with students, and further to supplement them where they feel like they need to meet the Massachusetts curriculum frameworks to ensure that our students are moving forward in all the areas that they're expected to by the state. I've spoken a couple times over the last couple of years of a new initiative at Russell Street where our teachers are posting their learning targets on somewhere in their room for their core subjects of reading and math every day, and often those are in I-CAN statements in student language, so students should be able to take ownership for what they should be able to know by the end of the lesson that day. Teachers are talking about the learning targets multiple times before we get to the subject, and our whole goal here is to help transfer ownership of learning to students so that they understand what they're responsible for, what the goal for that day is, and understand that if they can't master that by the end of that day, that's okay. And the whole idea is to be able to say that I'm not there yet and we're going to help you get there. So we're doing a lot of formative assessment with exit tickets and those types of things to ensure that students are meeting their daily targets rather than working through full units before we find out where students stand. This is the first year that faculty members who are being evaluated have needed to use student feedback in the evaluation process. That was a pretty major step for our district, and we've talked significantly about the expectations and what we're looking for teachers to take a look at. So anyone who's at the end of a 2-year cycle this year has done some kind of student feedback inquiry, often in a survey form, and often about something that they do in the classroom where they want to figure out if students are achieving what they're hoping they're achieving, or if they are understanding the main purposes. And I've seen significant reflection on the part of the Russell Street staff as they think about the feedback that they've gotten. Some folks have talked about things like our new WIN block, which is an intervention block in math, and asking students, what do they like about it, what don't they like about it. There's been morning meeting surveys, there's been all types of different surveys where teachers have learned things that students like a lot and don't like, so that we can tailor the learning to build engagement in our students. So I appreciate all the hard work of our staff as they've taken a look at student feedback. Professional development, there's one small typo on here. That Alice training at the bottom is a typo on my part, as I came from a previous form, so please ignore that. You'll notice that the early year professional development was in Journeys and Everyday Math. Those, as I mentioned, are our new big programs. We had our full day technology professional development day, which was a giant success. We did a professional development on decreasing stress in schools. One of the things that we're seeing, particularly in Massachusetts, I think, but in public schools everywhere, is the stress level for everybody is increasing. It's increasing for students. We're seeing more and more students with anxiety. We're seeing faculty members that are more stressed. We're seeing administrators that are more stressed, as we are looking for achievement goals and balancing social and emotional learning, juggling a lot of balls in the air, trying to meet all the needs of our community as well as meet our state mandates. So we did some professional development on really trying to take a step back and slow down a little bit and enjoy what we're doing, make sure students are enjoying what we're doing. We talked about how to address stress for students in the classroom with things like wait time, but also how faculty can take a look at their own stress and make sure that they're enjoying the work that they did. Most of us that got into this field did it because we love working with kids, and often we can find ourselves going 100 miles an hour these days, and we want to take a step back and remember that the rubber meets the road with the students and the learning. And so we did a lot around stress reduction. We were just recently at a session on executive functioning, and what's not up here is our faculty-led sessions at Russell Street this year focused on technology, mathematics instruction, and responsive classroom, amongst some other things. And faculty-led professional development, as we've talked about previously, is teachers who have put in proposals and other teachers who are going to see them. So our teacher experts in different areas are presenting to other staff and building capacity for our teachers, and it's a great model, and we had some wonderful things going on there. Yeah, go ahead, Steve, sorry. The next one is to continue to implement or develop consistent and efficient communication. The district has, in my experience, the district was pretty advanced in this 4 years ago when I got here, and we've just continued to grow. We have faculty, more and more faculty using Twitter, using apps like Remind, where they can text parents to remind them about field trips or things that their children need. We have some faculty using Instagram. We have some faculty modeling the administrative weekly email blast that we do. So the thing, it's not necessarily that there's new forms of communication, but there's more and more folks using them to ensure that we have accurate communication. We've talked previously in these meetings that often the adults and parents and us have a preferred form of communication. Maybe it's email, maybe it's Twitter. We try to mix that up and make sure that we hit folks in as many ways as we can. The many faculty members who have websites now are starting to integrate their Twitter feeds into their website. And the folks in this room know that our Twitter feeds are on the school websites, which gives us the opportunity to publicize things on our website very easily and quickly. Speaking of the website, one of our school improvement plan initiatives was to redesign the Russell Street School website, and that was an initiative on every school improvement plan as well as at the district level. Many props to the tech department who worked tirelessly to recreate all of those websites, give us a new look, give us new usability, and we're continuing to grow in our new format and find ways to provide more interactive experiences for parents, particularly forms and things like that that they would need. As a former website designer and developer myself, I think the big thing is we want our website to be, we want things on our website that require people to come back. If we have a stagnant website and there's no reason to come there, yeah, that's information for the outside world, but we want to really make it a place where we can communicate with parents and where they can find things that they need. We're certainly becoming much more technological and electronic. We certainly still support hard copies of things, but I think we'll continue to see our website be more dynamic and a place to visit. As we continue with technology, we've talked a lot about the collaboration with LCTV and how can we increase public awareness of positive happenings. We've seen the Tiger News Network that's out there. Russell Street certainly participates in that. In addition, we piloted this year, and some of the other schools are taking on a shared Google folder with the folks at LCTV. Mrs. McGregor, again, worked with the folks over there so that our teachers, when they do work with students and they film with iPads or whatever they're doing, they create these different things, they can just drag them in this shared folder, and then as the LCTV folks are creating shows, they can go to the Russell Street folder and pull out things that teachers said, hey, here's some things that could go in the show, that teachers are okay, that students are okay to be on TV. And so it sort of just gives them a deposit area where they can just go in and find things rather than having to say, hey, do you have anything this week? So I think that that's been great. It hasn't put pressure on teachers, but it's an opportunity for them to highlight their students and highlight their student work without a lot of heavy lifting. We know our teaching staff is extremely busy. We talked about the stress earlier, so to be able to drop that in easily and have Kirby and the folks over at LCTV have access to it has been great. As the rest of this report really is to highlight what you've seen already here tonight, and the first part of that is that we introduced a K-5 technology integration specialist in Mrs. Lord. She had been the technology person at Shaker Lane for many years previously, and she was willing to take a look at her position and change it a little bit to be a K-5 integration specialist. That's made a tremendous impact at Russell Street School. Over the past few years, we've seen the videos and the amazing things and the teacher trainings that have been going on at Shaker Lane. Julie and Heidi have teamed up to bring those things to Russell Street. We're seeing Friday morning staff training opportunities every Friday. They call it TGOF, Tech Goodies on Friday, much like the training model at Shaker Lane. And so they have different topics each week that teachers can drop in and learn what's going on. Right now, we've been focusing on a lot of the activities that are in the think tank, as you saw tonight, and Mr. Pratt alluded to that. For many of us adults, this is all new stuff. So, for our teachers as well, we wanted to make sure they were empowered to be able to use this space with their students. There's been significant professional development that Mrs. Lord has put on to work with teachers to build capacity and to build comfort level with instructional technology. The leaps that we've made this year based on the support teachers have had have been tremendous. I can't say enough about Julie's work. Devices, we talk about devices. We've certainly added devices, and we've been adding devices for years, and our teachers have been doing amazing instructional technology things for years, but it has really been a transformational year at Russell Street School. As we move down to the last item, it really is the collaboration between staff and the instructional specialist and the think tank that has really highlighted what we believe about learning at Russell Street, and that is we want students empowered to be creating information and to be collaborating and to be participating in 21st century skills. Since I've been in the district, I've been saying that I think the days of providing rote content for students to regurgitate back are gone, and we need to be giving students the opportunity to be lifelong learners and give them the skills that they need to experience and explore the things that are exciting to them. You heard Thurman tonight talk about going to Japan and going to the monument. That's student-driven activity, certainly guided by a faculty member. But I think you're seeing the faculty at Russell Street School become guides for students rather than the givers of information. We certainly know that there are standards. We're certainly making sure students have the information they need for their standards. But you're seeing, for anyone, especially at home, that's ever said, there's too much technology in the schools, we don't want technology for technology's sake. I was speaking to someone today where I said I think it's very clear that the technology is supporting the state standards and the work that students are doing, and it's not technology for technology's sake. Students aren't surfing the web on iPads, and it's not just bells and whistles to keep kids busy in school. They're using that technology to be able to dive deeper into subjects than they've ever been able to dive. Excuse me, and to collaborate and work together in ways they've never been able to work together. And I think the excitement that you saw from the 6 students here today is just a snapshot of what you see. If you're all invited to visit Russell Street and see the students in the think tank. Students are constantly asking, when can we go back? When can we create? When can we try new things? We're already talking about what kinds of things do we need to be thinking about ordering and putting on a shelf so that when these things start to get old, we have new things to put in front of them to keep them excited. It's really been a transformation and a reflection of what we believe learning should look like. in grades 3, 4, and 5. And, I think not only in the think tank, but we're starting to see that in the subject matter classrooms as well. Students are using technology and collaborating and videoing, and green screen has become a huge thing that's going on. Some faculty members are doing student videos each month about the curriculum that's going on, and students are doing newscasts, and there's all kinds of ways we're empowering students to take ownership of their learning, all the way back from learning targets to the activities that they're doing to the way that they're reporting it out. I'm not sure that Julie and Heidi took enough credit excuse me, for the work that they did. When you think about the fact that they've taught students how to be able to blog, and I don't mean that you can log in and type words, but what the sort of expectations are, and what the how powerful it is to be able to communicate with the world. But you'll notice there's not any student faces in those videos. You'll notice there's no student names in those videos. We're not monitoring those posts and then releasing them. Those are all students following the guidelines that have been put in place. When they're in the think tank, they can grab an iPad, shoot a video, and put up a blog post, and that's powerful opportunity for students to be able to communicate with the world. And that, in big part, is Julie and Heidi's work to make that space as impressive as it is. So, I can't thank them enough. It's been a busy year at Russell Street. We're, looking forward to wrapping things up strongly. We have a lot left to do before the end of the year, but I'm very proud of the teachers and the work that they've done, and most importantly, the students and their hard work. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight to highlight it, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Great. Matt, questions or comments?
No, I just comment is very impressed with everything I saw. I said I can't believe all the things that the kids are learning there, so kudos.
Daryl?
No, thank you for the update. I like the format that we've moved to here. It makes it really crisp to walk through all the initiatives that are underway there, and I'm set. Nice job.
I'm thrilled. I'm easy tonight. After seeing the kids and after seeing everything that's going on.
I couldn't be prouder. It really is amazing to watch them. Mr. Faraday said to me, they were so dynamic and so confident. There were no scripts here. And we talked about, I think what you saw is students just talking about what they own. That because no one said, here's the map, learn the states, and then come out and talk about it, and they had, this is what they're living. They're just coming out and talking to you about what they think is the fun that they're having,
And you can see that students are more in the driver's seat than I think they have ever been in their educations, and that's, I think, one of the reasons they're able to come out and talk to us with such ease is because it's theirs and because it's that they're owning it. And I'm very excited about everything else that you were just speaking about. The only thing I was going to mention was the stress, but it sounds like you're doing everything you can, and I'm glad that you pointed out, because it's not something that we often think about, that it's not just affecting the students, it's affecting the teachers and the administrators too, and that's not something that, we always put the students first, but you can't really do that if you're not also taking care of yourself and making sure that your team isn't burning out, and that's a good step to keep in mind, so I'm really glad that we're taking that head-on approach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. I think that in the past several years that I've been involved here, and we've been talking about Russell Street, sometimes when we look at the MCAS test scores, they've really been focused, and some of our attention and concern has been on that building, but it's clear that there's a lot going on, and I feel like I don't want to say we've turned a corner, because I don't ever think we were ever in a crisis situation by any stretch of the imagination, but we can see that, there is a dynamism going on in there that maybe wasn't there quite, a couple of years ago. And I think that the teachers and staff and the students are benefiting from that. And you can see it feeding on itself. Now it becomes almost a self-perpetuating concept. So I think that's great. And it was a terrific mesh of you talking and giving us kind of the more, dry breakdown, but being able to think about it in terms of what we just saw just made it so much more meaningful. So it was a terrific opportunity.
Great.
Thank you very much. All right. So we're going to go to old business. Darryl, we're going to talk about the draft proposed Massachusetts Association of School Committees, MASC resolution.
Yeah. So I put into the packet tonight, I took a crack at drafting based on very little figuring out what one is supposed to look like. proposed resolution here. The first part of it here kind of outlines the problem I think that we all face in terms of fitting 185 scheduled days in with all of the constraints that go on, from contractual constraints to, local traditions and other pieces there on it. What I put down towards the end on could it now be resolved, I thought of 3 different options there, and I jotted them down, and I scratched out the 2 that I didn't quite get the sense of where we wanted. I didn't think we were wanting an instant answer on scheduling a one-week vacation. Alex mentioned something about you don't want MASC to file legislation there. So I proposed, and I don't know if MASC does it this way or not, the formation of a study committee with representatives from all of the 9 divisions in the state to see if there could be a consolidated recommendation provided. And then from that recommendation, recommend that the whole body vote as to whether they support that recommendation or not. And so I'm throwing that out there as a way of trying to proceed with this. And then what I was looking for tonight was, some feedback on this approach. And if it pleases, if everybody's happy with this, what I'd like to start then doing is socializing it a little bit on the MASC mailing list and other forums. I'm going to try to reach out to, I think we're in Division 1, I'll reach out to the Division 1 chair to, again, start the effort to try to socialize this concept to see if it's something that other school committees are also facing as a piece here. And then come back to the next meeting to sort of vote our endorsement and then submit it to MASC as an endorsed proposed resolution for their consideration in forming the things there. What I'd probably continue to try to do throughout the summer would be is to try to socialize it a little bit more with the other districts in terms of building support or measuring support to see if this is the type of thing people are interested in. But like I said at the last meeting, I feel without some type of statewide coordinated effort, the 2-school week vacation tradition can't change. It's just too difficult for individual districts to go it alone. So appreciate any feedback, and if we don't have it tonight, I'll take it via email, but I'll send it just to me and we won't have a discussion. I'll bring it back to the meeting for discussion.
Alex, any thoughts?
I think it's a really great and deliberate approach, and I think it's not so deliberate that it'll take us years and years to do. It sounds like we'd be able to, if the MASC were to go forward with this in November, then the following November they'd be able to have something to vote on, which I think is a really, it might not sound to the outside world, but that sounds like a tight timeline, which I think is effective.
Because I feel it takes time. These aren't things that people kind of deal with overnight. I mean, it will probably take people several meetings just to agree as to whether they want to take a position on it versus let alone deciding what their position actually is if it came down to a vote.
I definitely think it's a good idea and a good approach. My only comment would be to maybe show it to Steve Finn, the counsel at MASC, before submitting it, just so.
Yeah, so I have sent a copy he's our
Glenn Kuchar.
Yes, no, Mike. I've been dealing with Mike.
Oh, yeah.
I'm terrible on names, sorry about that. I sent him a copy, and he hasn't had it, he just got back from vacation, so I don't know if he's had a chance to give me any feedback on that also. So I did have a conversation with him a couple of weeks ago about the process, and like I said, I asked him if he could give me any feedback once I had a draft put together, so.
Mike Gilbert.
Yes, that's the name, Mike Gilbert. Thank you.
All right, Matt?
I think it's a good start. I think you got to start somewhere, so I think this is a good option. I'm relatively new to the process, but I'm 100% behind this. I'm just curious, has anyone done any surveys in the town to see what the people of Littleton are behind this?
We have. I don't remember how focused the questions were about eliminating one vacation, and going to one. Do you remember, Daryl?
I think it's split. It's similar to the before or after Labor Day discussions there. A lot of it's personally, I think a lot of it's rooted in tradition and what people have done there. I think there's a lot of confusion sometimes in terms of, like I said in the proposal, it doesn't change the length of the school year. It's
Right.
still the same number of education days that were required here. It just gives us a little flexibility to try to get them done before the end of June. On it. And, but like I said, I think we had mixed reaction from the community in terms of vacations.
I mean, for me, I'm a teacher, so to me, the question was always, keeping it as the same as my children. So, this is and I always said, if you're going to do it, it has to be statewide. So I think this is great. Said, give us some more information on it if they're willing to go forward on it.
I think it's a great first effort. I can see where it's a process and you started it. You clearly aren't finished yet, which is fine. I think Alex is right. I think that it's a deliberative process that will allow people time to digest it, but at the same time, you are drawing a line saying, like, let's try to make a determination. And if we're not, we're not, and then we're done, and we don't have to worry about it anymore.
And actually, just to address one concern, I'm not asking the committee tonight to take a position on 1 week or 2 weeks. Here. It could almost be ironic that we'd sponsor an initiative like this and then say, no, we want to stay with 2 weeks vacation. But I feel it's just the way we need to go through the process.
The other thing to keep in mind is, and Alex said it is the committees themselves, if it got far enough where the MASC did say, yes, we're going to work on this, then each individual committee is going to want to go get their own community's input. That's going to be a major factor, because it won't be 5 or 10 or 7 people making that determination. They're going to want to go out. And the one thing I will stress, and we've said this before, but I want to stress it again, when we're talking about the calendar and we start talking about eliminating vacations or doing this, it ultimately is going to have to be a determination made on the best interests of the districts in terms of educational outcomes. It can't be about, well, that's when I like to go do this, or when I like to go do that, because at that point, it's always going to be about 50-50. And nobody's wrong about that. I mean, if that's the way you're going to make the determination, I would never say, gee, you're wrong. Of course it's one vacation is the right thing to do. No, maybe it's not, But if we're going to make the determination about whether or not it's educationally advantageous, you already are starting to work that into why we would be considering this at all. It's really, that's the driver. It's not that, gee, I just want to be done sooner. It's like, no, there are significant, very possibly significant reasons that make this a very worthwhile, albeit it could be a little, earth-shaking for people to make that switch. But if it's the right thing to do, we'll know why, and it'll be not because we can get better plane fares to get somewhere. It's going to be because it's going to help the kids, do better. It's going to help the staff teach better, and that's going to be the most important consideration, the most important way to make the determination about whether you're thumbs up or thumbs down on it. All right, keep going.
Okay, so if it's okay with the committee, I'll probably release this draft onto the MASC mailing list to start.
That's fine with me.
Again, just start broadening the awareness of this initiative.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
All right, so we're moving to new business, and we have to deal with signature authorizations.
Yeah, this is just an annual kind of a paperwork thing that the town asks us to do. Accounts payable, we always ask three school committee members to sign the warrants, so no action is needed. In the past, what we've authorized one signature, one school committee signature on the payroll warrant, and that's what we're seeking tonight. It's just a quick authorization and vote on that.
And it's not an authorization of who signs it, it's just that we're going to allow for one signature rather than a majority signature, which would be 3.
Yep.
Do you have a prepared motion, or do you?
I apologize, I did not prepare a motion, no.
Okay. I'll make a motion to authorize the school committee to allow one signature for payroll authorization.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right. Thank you. All right. So that time of year, we're rolling around towards the end, and when we do, we take a look at the superintendent evaluation. Darrell, you've been driving that?
Yeah, actually, if you mind if I slip one thing in before we do that one?
Yes, go ahead.
There. So, There's been some email recently about some, getting a PTA update there, and it caused me to think a little bit about maybe proposing something for inclusion in our future, maybe starting next year's agendas there, is the idea of having a section, maybe 5 to 10 minutes per meeting, and we invite all of this groups that sponsors events at our schools, be it PTA, boosters, the athletic, groups, CPAC, and other ones that do things on behalf of the schools in the community, and maybe make an opportunity that, as they have something appropriate, we have an item on the agenda for them to come in and present and update us on their activities and the impacts to the schools there. Give a couple of benefits for that. It would, bring their activities to the forefront. I know within their local communities, those are very visible things there, but they're not always visible to people that don't participate in those particular activities. And it'll also provide the direct visibility to the whole school committee of their involvement and participation in the schools. I think that is a proposal I'd like to throw out for us to consider, and things like, like you said, the boosters, the PTA, and the other groups there might give a different way for us interacting with the broader community.
Thoughts? Alex?
I think it's fine with me. I think if we're going to do it, we should reach out to each of the schools, the school level PTAs, and just let them know, so it doesn't shock anyone, but I think it's great.
Yeah, and it's not limited to the PTAs. I would say that all of the organizations that are actually under the school umbrellas there, like I said, I know our athletic boosters do a lot for the schools, and I know the athletic people see all of that, but I'm not involved in all of those sports, so I don't always see the benefits or the activities they've sponsored on behalf of the schools there. So I'm thinking we want to be very inclusive across all of the organizations.
And I think it'll also be a boon to us on the district side, because there will be opportunities for us to collaborate on different projects, like Teaching and Excellence Award type of thing.
I'm on board.
Good. Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. I think that we have had some, Lisa Boone comes in and gives us the CPAC update, and she does it as part of the interested citizens part of the agenda. I like this idea of making it a little bit more formal and allowing us to hear, but also allowing us to interact back. Right. And whether it's simply recognition or maybe seeking out opportunities for, some symbiotic relationship or some synergy that we can get more benefit out of, I think it's a great idea. I think that there'll be some groups that will take more advantage of it than others, but that's fine. But I think your point is valid, is it should be communicated to all, and if they choose to not take, significant advantage of it, that's certainly their prerogative. But the ones that do, we will afford them that opportunity, so.
And you're right, and, technically in the citizens input section where we've been getting it, we're not really supposed to engage the discussions there, and I think this provides that.
I think we will want to set some parameters about, notice, so we can get it set in the agenda, because if we do have 2 or 3 and we want to expand it to 20 minutes, we just want to know that so that we can set it. If somebody wants to do a specific presentation, and that might very well start to happen as we, start to walk down this road, that might be a different thing, and we'll say, no, we'll get you on the agenda for that particular purpose. Or maybe it's like, well, no, that one we think might be more appropriate for you to work with one of our other staff to present to us, or something along those lines. So we just want to make sure that we're managing the process to make it worthwhile and not step on anybody's toes or get wires crossed. So.
And handle it as part of the agenda coordination process there. And then we could also use the opportunity, if we had 2 or 3 of them, we could schedule them over a couple of meetings rather than having them all at one time. Also.
And diluting the effect.
I think the one thing I want to keep in mind with this is we've talked in the last 2 or 3 years about using a read-ahead packet so that we can have presentations like which was very quick, because we've already seen the material and it's not new to us. So I think as we loop in...
Right, that would be the idea. It wouldn't be they just said, hey, we want to talk about something. They would tell us and provide us with the material. This is what we want to talk about, and that would help a lot too.
So what I can do is I will identify all the groups, and I'll create a letter in the fall and send it out.
Awesome, good.
Thank you.
I do know that Katie Bonner did ask specifically to do an update on PTA, which I think we should do for the next meeting, and then we'll move the rest of it for the other groups forward after our little interim through the summer. Awesome. All right, great idea, Darryl.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to talk about superintendent evaluation. Yes?
Yeah, I'm just catching up. All right.
I don't want to miss your cue.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have to switch, do not install update now.
Inconvenient.
Yeah. All right. So I got everybody's inputs, and then I did not open my piece here. I sent you a copy, Kelly, but I don't think Steve has a copy to put up on the screen there, unfortunately. Can you make your copy available, or?
Sure.
You can try to.
We might have to, there it is. You got it.
There we go.
Micro reading on that. Basically, I give you the bottom line up front. Almost a majority of the scores are in the exemplary category here. In terms of all of the 4 standards, the overall assessments netted out at exemplary. Let me just hit the summaries here. And then under the superintendent's performance goals, under student learning, we had an exceeded in terms of the student learning goal. And then on implementation of the Vision 2020 plan, we had a mix of met and exceeded scores on that. It was about half and half. So we'll probably, as a committee, need to make sure we settle on which the final piece there was. In the write-up that I have here, I captured the summary level comments. If you go back to, I think it's step 5. Is that the one that's on the screen there now?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard to catch there. What I have in this section is a summary of the overall evaluator comments from each of the evaluations, sort of hit the highlights from each of the pieces there. I'm not going to read them to everybody because that's just not what I do good at there. But I think in general it was very positive, and I can summarize it as we're all very pleased in your leadership of the Littleton School District here. Each of the individual reviews has some micro comments that I think are good for us having on a one-on-one discussion relative to some things I think we would like to see the district improving on, and then through your leadership helping affect those on it there. So like one example that I just personally had in there was us focusing on a little bit on the fiscal planning on our longer range outlooks, so that we could try to get a little bit further ahead of where the town is in terms of projecting where we think the school costs are going to be running. And I know that's a trade-off that we've been running so busy doing the current costs and the current budget projections, but those are things I think that will help us strengthen our budget planning processes and get us into places better there. So I don't consider that a critique of what we currently do. I'm looking at that as things that we can continue to strengthen, and as we strengthen that, it will strengthen the overall district there. And I would defer to the other school committee members to, if there's some particular items that they'd like to tell us about at this level in terms of just where we'd like to see the district going, so that we can be using that in setting next year's goals. I think would be very useful.
All right. Alex, comments?
Sure. So what I'll do is I'll do a quick brush through my evaluation, just very quickly. For overall, I said proficient. I'm confident in Superintendent Clenchey's ability to lead the district. Going down each section, I had met goal for both professional practice goal and for student learning goal. For standard 1, I had proficient, standard 2, exemplary, standard 3, proficient, and standard 4, exemplary. I'm not going to go through each indicator, or if not here, that doesn't seem really necessary. I'm very excited about a lot of the things we have going on in the district that Superintendent Clenchey has brought about, particularly the professional culture of the district. I think just the nature and the way that we talk about it works its way into every conversation we had. The conversation we had earlier tonight about stress that teachers are having, or understanding that our educators aren't always familiar with what we're asking them to teach right away because it's cutting edge. And so to train the trainer model, teach the teacher model with the technology. And it's not just at Russell Street, and it's not just what we've talked about tonight, but that's what we just spoke about, so that's what I'm referring to. And I think Superintendent Clenchey has done a great job. I think one of the most important tasks as a superintendent is in surrounding yourself with good staff and good administrators. And certainly when it comes to the budget issues that this team has had to face with, you guys have jumped through hoops trying to make it work. And there's not always enough money to go around, and yet we still have to show up every day and do our best. And I think we certainly do that, and I have no concerns from a budgetary issue that we are not doing our very best and stretching every dollar as far as we can. I spelled out in my evaluation a couple areas for growth, nothing incredibly concerning, just as Daryl said, sort of, we're in a good spot now, how can we pursue a different direction or a stronger direction and continue to lead as a district. For me, the difference between proficient and exemplary was in a lot of the exemplary areas, I think we can model. I think Superintendent Clenchey's actions are a model for other superintendents, and our district is in a lot of ways a model for other districts. There are other areas where I think we should look at other districts, and I know we look at other districts and say, oh, this might be a model district for this program that they're running, and that's something we should look at. Overall, I'm pleased with the direction of the district. I'm excited to see where it goes. I think we know it's going in the right direction, but I'm excited to see what we will look like next year and the year after, because it's really been extraordinary, the change that has been going on in this district for the last several years. Thank you.
The only thing I want to add to that is kind of echoing the comments of, my overall evaluation was exemplary almost across the board. And really, the only couple minor things that I was thinking more of proficiency versus exemplary was really more a reflection of the constraints that have been put upon the district and by definition upon the leadership, and this is the superintendent's evaluation. There's no question in my mind that if there were more resources available, whatever slight hesitations I have in terms of trying to grade out to exemplary would go away in a heartbeat. I echo Alex's words in the sense that I think we're in a great position, and it's a direct reflection of Superintendent Clenchey's leadership, and I'm very excited to have him. I think you can see by the what's in both objectively in terms of the actual check boxes we checked off, but also subjectively in the comments that we made, how much is going on and how well we're doing and how much push there is to continue to move forward, even with the constraints that we have. And I think really Alex hit the nail on the head. Like, we are in some ways a model of that, because we are not in any better shape than anybody else relative to the resources that are being made available to us, but we were better off in terms of how well our staff from the top all the way down. We saw it tonight in terms of the teacher recognitions that we had and the way the students show what their capabilities are, how well we're doing with the way we apply the resources that we are given. So again, really, if we could give you more resources, we'd have to get another column besides exemplary, but we don't. So, but it's a great evaluation. I got to it late. I apologize, but when I got to it, it was easy to do, and it was enjoyable to think about. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. What do we need? Do we need to do anything at this point, or do
So
we need to finish out the process?
I think the only part that, like I said, that I would like just in terms of get the committees as a whole's recommendation on is on Goal 2, professional practice, implementation of the Vision 2020 plan. We had 2 meets and 2 exceeds on the rating there, so
Right.
there were.
I'm going to make it easy. Again, the only reason I put met instead of exceeded was just the nature of the goal itself, which is, an overall vision plan that takes time to execute. I have no problem with where we are or the process that we're going through to get there. I just feel like it's a process and we're not, done yet. I don't think we'll ever technically be done. But I have no problem moving that over to exemplary and finishing that one. Or exceeded, sorry. Is that the one? Sorry. They're all exceeded, exemplary.
Yeah, they switched the words to make sure you're paying attention. Yeah, that was just the only one that wasn't comfortable,
Yeah, I would go to
making
exceed.
unilateral
I have no
call
problem go to
on-
exceeded, so
on
you can
that.
just check that box off.
And I just wanted to add, one comment, I don't know if, as I look at the rubric and the definitions there, I want to compliment the superintendent, in terms of where I was seeing exemplary, which serves as a model of practice there. Any superintendent that's coming along where Kelly could be their mentor would greatly benefit from the practices that he has and the role model that he is within the district. And that was one of the other key factors that, in terms of exemplary performance, that not only would we benefit, but if there's any junior or other superintendents that are coming along, I think he could provide a very strong role model and advice and guidance for that individual.
Thank you. Very nice compliment. When you look at leadership at this level, effective leadership doesn't involve one person. In the case of the superintendent, it involves the school committee. We're a team, and my successes are your successes, and vice versa. And in Littleton, we are moving in the right direction. We're working together. It's tough slugging at times, but it should be tough slugging at times. Fiscally, we've, like many other districts throughout the country, we've had some economic downsides, and we've managed to do well through them, and now we're rebuilding in some areas, or replenishing some staff and moving forward. As a community, we're growing. It's exciting to be part of a growing community, and we're going to have new opportunities in the future. I'm blessed with a very effective leadership team who's progressive, well-read, willing to take risks, and wanting to make us the best system, not only in our region, but in the nation. And we've had some national recognition, as you're all aware of, and we're going to keep moving forward on that. And of course, our teachers, our culture. Great organizations are built upon cultures that are growth-oriented. And tonight you were witness to a couple of our teachers who took those extra risks, and we were able to be supported by our community, Littleton Light and Water Department, who provided money to create that makerspace for our children. So it's really a community effort, a community momentum. For me, it's been a pleasure to be part of Littleton as the educational leader. I really enjoy Littleton. It has so much to offer. If I had young kids, I would certainly want them in the school system. And I've had so many teachers come to me and state that, and also a lot of our teachers have been fortunate to have their own children come in through school choice. That in itself is a real testament to a school district. So again, I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you as a team and venture forward. So thank you very much.
Great. Do we need a motion on this?
I think we have to, I don't know if we have a motion or we sign
Yeah, I
the
think we just sign it.
evaluation.
Sign the document, or the evaluation when it's done.
So what I'll do is I'll update and finalize the piece there, send it to Kelly, so that at the next meeting, we can sign it.
Can you send it around to the committee?
Yeah, I'll send out the final copy to everybody.
And we'll post it. That'll get posted up on the website, too.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, Daryl, thank you for doing that. It's not an insignificant effort, but it's important.
Thank you for putting up with us.
Thank you, Darryl.
I would like to take the opportunity, we're kind of at interested citizens. Olivia, thank you for coming. There's a lot going on.
I had my final drive time. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Superintendent Clenchey you were nice enough to give him an update. He ran through it. Is there anything else you want to throw out there for us about what's going on, or?
Today at the high school, our chapter of Best Buddies gave an amazing presentation on kind of autism, how the spectrum affects different students. In the Wilson family, Caitlin, one of her older brothers, Drew, who has autism and is on the spectrum, and her mom, Jody, I think, they all talked, and that was really moving. And then earlier when we were talking about the school improvement plan, the sophomores were the sophomores got the, what's it called? The frontal lobe, brain discussion.
It's executive
lecture.
functioning.
Yeah, executive functioning. It was a half day. It was very hot. But the presenter, she really changed from what I'm hearing from some of the teachers who had a more extensive version on the subject than we did. She really kind of edited it and got engaging students for my grade who sat through it.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Olivia. It was a great presentation for staff. And the executive functioning is, there are 8 different areas. One of the areas is organizational skills and higher cognitive processes, et cetera, and concentration and on and on. But what the presenter did is link brain-based learning to age spans. And frontal lobe development in one's brain is associated with executive skill development. And in essence, what it truly showed is a lot of executive functions don't max out until the mid-20s, 26, 27. And unfortunately, then you're on the slide downhill. So you finally get to the top, and then you start going back down again a bit. What I found really interesting is the flexibility part of
Built-in excuse,
executive
thank
functioning.
you, oh, that's awesome.
Sorry I had to disclose that part, but I have to be transparent.
And I feel better. Yeah, exactly. You will rule.
I'm trying to get this sandwich thing going here, so we'll end with a positive. But,
Cowabunga, dude, we're sliding up that hill, not just down it.
maybe there's a slight slide up again there. That's what our understanding will be that. But flexibility is locked in at quite a young age, around grade 4, which, I've done a lot of reading on brain-based development, but the flexibility component surprised me a bit, that it was at such a young age where those skills were developed. They did MRIs of the brain, which was really interesting, and they went through different grade spans. I don't know if the presenter did that with you at all.
Yeah, it was age 4 through 25, and it showed the amount of gray matter in the brain. Because we only got an hour to talk about it for my grade, we kind of skimmed through it a little bit, but it was, your brain starts off with a ton of brain or gray matter, and then as you grow up, it slowly becomes less, and it gets color coded on the MRI, so when you see it, the brain changes color, which was cool.
Well, I'm glad you really reported that, Olivia, and thank you for coming out tonight. I know how busy you are, and how's the year end going for you?
The year-end's going good. At this point, I think I can say for most of the students, we just want it to be done.
Oh, wait,
some
let
of
me
the
put that in
teachers
our
have said,
resolution.
we have 10 more days of learning left at the high school before it's let's review for finals. Oh wait, finals are next week. So it's been a lot, and then all of the sports are ending. So I did my first high school sport this season. I played on the girls' tennis team, and we have our banquet to celebrate Friday. So
That's great.
year's definitely coming to an end.
Good. Thank you.
All right, just for pro forma's sake, I will open up to interested citizens. Literally seeing none. We'll move on to, and again, hey, I get it, right? It's the end of the year for all of us, I get it, so. And there is a tremendous amount going on in the community. I mean, all the extra year-end activities piled onto our day-to-day stuff, so it's perfectly fine. Subcommittee reports, PMBC.
Sure. It's been a busy couple of weeks here. So we've been working with PMBC, going through the, all the accounts, different projects and stuff. Don't run quite yet, because one of the projects is yours.
Oh, he thought he did it. Had a great presentation earlier, and now he thought he was
Trying to sneak out. I mean, no.
I got a nod.
Just because I don't, PMBC doesn't get candy. They're going through the project. So just I have a quick summary here. So there's $50,000 available for high school classroom painting, the refresh pieces there. There's Univent money, probably close to about $120,000, $130,000 that I think we'll be able to execute all of the remaining Univents and possibly the upgrades of those ones for digital controls.
Correct, we're working on those.
There, so I think we might be able to put a stake in the Univent project at that point.
Well, if you remember, we started 9 years ago, we said it was a 10-year project.
Yeah, so I'm very optimistic on that. At Russell Street, there's $11,000 allocated for pavers and landscaping that will be available on July 1st. The Russell Street Circle and parking lot paving, the engineering spec for that's been released, so we'll be needing to coordinate times that the paving crews will be able to work over the summer. Same thing at Shaker Lane, the paving spec's been released, and that one will also require coordination for available paving dates there on it. So those are the major activities that are happening relative to the schools and PMBC that should be kicking off this summer.
And just one comment, I've started contacting some landscaping companies. I haven't really talked to Scott yet about what needs to be fixed and the proposal and what we can do for the money. So we'll get together and work on that with some landscaping companies.
Yeah, and then obviously we need that coordination loop with the PMBC on it, but I wanted to just let you guys know what projects were all approved so that we can make sure that all the planning for those can kick off.
Yep.
I'm just going to take an opportunity to segue from that into an update on the Alumni Field Renovation Committee activity that we've had, because it does affect the PMBC. So we've had 3 meetings on the last 3 Wednesday nights. The first meeting was sort of a kickoff meeting where we got organized. Chuck DeCoste, who's representing the Board of Selectmen, is the chair. I, representing the school committee, is the vice chair. Sheila Kish, who's one of our community members at large, is the secretary. We have 9 members sitting on the committee, including representation from the PMBC. The first meeting after we organized, we had about 20 people in the room. It was a good turnout, and we really opened it up into a forum for a lot of input, and pretty much everybody there had something to say about the direction of the project and what the focus should be in areas of concern and things like that. And it went on for a while, but it was really good, and we took a lot of notes. The second meeting, we started to digest that, and we took a look at the RFQ that was done for the track, and with the idea that, because that was a little different. It was a design and feasibility study, but there were design elements in it. So what we did is we took an opportunity or made an exercise to modify that, putting in all the feedback we had gotten in the first meeting, all the input from the first meeting, to try to fashion an RFQ that we could give to the PMBC to execute. That was at the second meeting. We then took it, I wordsmithed it, and we went over it in paragraph by paragraph detail last night. Yeah, that's what it was. And we voted it, and now it's going to go out to the PMBC. It'll be presented next week at the PMBC. The hope is that they will obviously have some input about what they think it looks like, and especially about things that are germane to what they do, how they execute it, dates. You know, when is it going to get put out for bid? What are the windows for, submitting bids, getting questions answered, doing a site walkthrough, which there will be a site walkthrough scheduled. At least that's what we're proposing, and Carl was there from the PMBC, and he agreed that would be fine. But what we're really hoping is that next Wednesday, they'll vote to put it out, and then it'll go out in short order. So if it can't, then that's fine. If the PMBC comes back and says, look, guys, it really needs another pass-through for us to fix it, and then you guys are taking a look at it and vote it, then we'll do it. But really, we're going to try to have some representation at the meeting. We are trying to get at the end of the agenda, because it's athletic award tonight, and some of us are involved in that. But we will try to get there, and hopefully that's what's going to happen. And then PEMBC will kind of own that for a while, and with the charge of the alumni, what we want to do with the Alumni Field Renovation Committee is start thinking about getting information about different alternatives and opportunities, some of it related to the field surface, which is obviously a big aspect of it, but also how we want the bleachers to work, press box, PA systems, and green opportunities for construction, all that kind of stuff. We'll just kind of get people to come in and talk to us and gather information, and then hopefully the design will get executed. Really what we want is, we want it to be executed so that we can get the engineer in the room with us, because there's only so much we can do, and in some ways, we might do too much without him. It'll be, I wouldn't say a waste of time, but not as efficient as it truly could be.
So I think PMBC ends up sort of owning the process of executing the contract there. Has the selectmen determined how, is like this committee going to stay together to be the ones that choose the design options?
Right.
You know, because the PMBC doesn't own that part of the process.
Right. I don't know that that we will stay together for sure, and we will be a part of the rest of the unfolding of the effort. I don't know that we've gotten to a point where we would say we are the determinants of, are we going to be the ones who vote to pick Plan A versus Plan B? I think we need to have a discussion about that. We certainly would want to, if we weren't going to take the vote, if the vote was going to be Board of Selectmen, because they are the borrowing authority, and we certainly aren't, then we would say, fine, you guys can do that, but we're going to have, very similar to the way the track effort went, where the LTO was intimately involved in the process, literally every step of the way.
Right.
But ultimately, when it was time to go to town meeting, it was the Selectmen's warrant article.
Right.
So I think that's how it would
You know,
go.
and I'll use a trivia example, you know, bleachers, restroom, you know, snack bar or snack bar restroom.
Exactly.
So that's not a PMBC.
Correct, no, we would expect that we would be the primary conduit for making recommendations.
Yeah.
And we would be the ones that would be soliciting community input and creating a forum to allow that to happen. We don't expect the PMBC to do that.
Okay.
Really, what we expect the PMBC to do is to execute the bid. And then once the bid is executed, especially because it's a design and not a build, then we would kind of that's why we're going to take a little hiatus to let the execution of the bid happen. That will be driven by PMBC for sure, but then we're going to do some stuff, but then when the engineer gets in the room, it's going to be our room. It's not going to be the PMBC's room, it's going to be our meeting, and that's where that will happen.
Okay, and then just one thing, just so that it'll help me, is if you get electronic copies of all of the stuff.
Yeah.
They like a lot of paper, but I'm trying to get electronic.
So I
copies
have what we worked on last night, and what I'm going to do over the weekend is clean it up, and I will send it to PMBC through Jen Gibbons.
Yeah.
And then she'll get it in you guys' packet, but there'll be an electronic version for her to send out. And I'll CC anyway.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's done, but it isn't just, I'm not the best word guy, so there's runoffs and funny spacing and all that kind of crazy stuff, so I just got to clean that up a little bit.
That sounds like that's going great then.
Yeah, it's been a busy 3 weeks, but it's been very, very exciting and a lot of energy, so that's good. All right, budget subcommittee. I would like to try and meet next week after the holiday and talk about what we want to do, because we've really got one more meeting before we take a little break in the summer. And I know we talked about maybe doing some budgeting, visioning, and getting some input from the admin team. So let's us get together.
This Thursday at 9 work?
Yeah.
Let's figure that offline, and we
All right.
want to check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's try to make that happen, and then that will give you guys some time to go ahead and do that prior to our meeting.
Okay.
Okay? That's really all I have. I think we did talk about from on that. Do you have anything on policy?
I've finished up the ones from last time and sent the review manual and the next year's work list to Alex.
Yes.
All right, so this is the last time I turn this way to ask about policy.
Don't we get one more meeting? I was afraid I was going to have to open tonight with, there won't be any candy tonight.
There is one other update I want to give on a committee, the Master Plan Update Steering Committee. I think I've given one update while we got going, so I want to take the opportunity to give another one. So it's a big effort. It's a 2-year process. I did not know that when I volunteered. I only found out after I signed on the dotted line. But we are almost a year through it. And the first part of it was us getting our arms around what we want to do for master plan update. And then we hired a consultant. And that was our big effort, and that's been done. And we have a consultant, and the consultant's been meeting with us. The big part about master plan, the thing that really makes it work is community input. And it has to happen. If it doesn't, it's only going to be of so much value. And there's going to be a real strong push for opportunities for the community to come together to talk about. And the master plan is exactly what when you say master plan, it's about everything. It's zoning, it's open space, it's passive and active recreation, it's budgeting, economic development, how you want your schools to look, what are your priorities, zoning, I mean, it's everything. It's an encompassing document and it's an encompassing effort. So we need a lot of input, and there's going to be opportunities for community input. The big one, the kickoff, is going to be on June 13th, which I believe, is that a Tuesday?
I think it is.
Tuesday.
13th is a Monday.
Monday? Monday, sorry. June 13th, at the middle school. It's a 3-hour, the first hour is like a dinner, where there'll be some really, informal activities around the dinner, but just allow people to get together and start thinking about how they want to, go through this meeting. 7 to 9, we're going to break off into subgroups throughout the building and really start a visioning effort on how we want the master plan to go. There's going to be a full court press of information going out and wrangling to get people to come to this meeting, the community, not members, well, there will be members on the boards, but we're looking for families, we're looking for people that are not on boards, people that wouldn't typically get involved in something like this. There's going to be like 4 or 5 chances. This is the big one. This is the kickoff. So we're really going to talk about it. I might actually think about putting a little presentation on our next meeting. We'll have one more meeting before that, so we can talk about it a little bit more. But we're going to be part of that. I would encourage all of us to go if we can all make it work on our schedules. It's a very important effort, and we should really participate. And we're going to take advantage of the communication that we have in the community and push that out, and there'll be a flyer that's going to go out, and we'll get it out electronically through our various social media outreach through each building and however we see best to do it. But we really got to push it out there, and we're going to participate in that. The school has already been great administration in terms of making the building available and talking about using the kitchen and all that. So John Overcash has been great. So we are involved, and we're going to continue to be involved, and it's going to start to pick up. It's been it's happening, but kind of behind the scenes. It's going to come right out into the forefront now, and we should all be ready to get involved on that and participate. Okay? All right, graduation, a week from tomorrow. All right, 6 o'clock?
6:30.
6:30. Have we looked at a long-term forecast yet?
60% rain.
I have no rain.
Do you have no rain?
I have no rain.
Tina says no rain.
I can go with your forecast.
That's fine.
All right, so hopefully we will have good weather and we can pull it off at the Alumni Field, which we're just talking about.
You got a ceiling.
Yeah, somebody joked about a dome, it's dome, like a retractable dome. But then somebody said we don't live in Texas, so we can't do that. So yeah, graduation a week from tomorrow, and then we have our next meeting on Thursday, June 9th, which will be our last kind of regular business meeting before we take a summer hiatus. All right, any other business? All right, awesome, thank you. It was a great meeting, a lot of energy at the beginning. It was a terrific night, and it's a terrific time to be in Littleton, so enjoy it all, everybody, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Motion to adjourn.
No. Well, do you want to do an executive session tonight or next week?
I think we're going to do it next meeting. I think we're going to post or do it at the beginning of the next meeting.
Okay.
And then hopefully we can execute and bring it right out. Okay? That's what we talked about that. And I think that's what we're going to do.
Perfect.
Okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Alex,
So we do not need executive session. All right.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
We're early tonight.